So the group stages are done and dusted for this World Cup, and we now have our round of 32 locked in. South Africa against Canada is the first game, and that's what we're going to be covering in this video at the end, because first we are going to try and predict the rest of the competition from the round of 32 all the way to the final. So without further ado, let's get into it. And don't forget to add your predictions in the comments. If you agree with me, that's fantastic. If you disagree with me, even better. So we start with South Africa against Canada. Canada, of course, on home soil. I've got to apologise to South Africans in general, I think, because I disrespected and doubted them many times in this competition. And I think many people did after that first game. They looked a bit of a mess, but those two results after have got them into the knockouts for the first time in their history, and the same goes for Canada. So history has been made already. Well done to both teams. On South Africa, I am going to doubt you again. I don't think you've got the goals needed to beat this Canada team. Canada have shown that they can score goals at this competition, and that is not something I see from South Africa. So I'm going to go with Canada to progress. Next up is Germany against Paraguay. It's a good tie, isn't it, for the Germans? I don't think we need to spend too much time on this one. Paraguay, a low-scoring team. Germany, the complete opposite. Netherlands against Morocco is a very, very tasty tie indeed. For heritage reasons alone, Morocco do have a few players that were born in the Netherlands. Just want to say as well, massive sympathies and thoughts with Cody Gakpo and his partner. Cannot even imagine what they are going through at the moment. It would be completely okay and acceptable if he didn't play again in this competition, but his colleagues will be playing, no doubt, for him. And this is a tough game because Morocco have got a very, very good defence. It's a very tricky game to call, but I do like what I saw from the Netherlands since Brian Brobby came into the team. And I am going to go with Netherlands to edge it, but I could see this one going all the way to extra time. Brazil against Japan, and this is a repeat of the friendly from last October where Japan beat Brazil 3-2. Brazil topped the group only on goal difference, and Japan have looked dangerous. They're always a decent team, aren't they, the Japanese? But I have to go with Brazil here because I've got them in a sweepstake with my mates. So yeah, a little bit of bias here, but I do think Brazil will progress. Next on to many people's favourites for the competition, France. They are playing Sweden. I loved watching Sweden in that opening game. I thought, here we go, we've got our real first dark horse of the tournament. But it turned out Tunisia were just a bit rubbish. Sweden then got battered by the Netherlands, and if you concede 5 against the Netherlands, how many are you going to concede against France? I'm going to go with France to progress. Ivory Coast against Norway. This could be a fantastic spectacle. Norway well rested. After their previous game, they rested 10 of their 11 players. Very happy to finish second and set up this game, but the Ivory Coast were in a tough group, and they were moments away from beating Germany, who then went down the other end of the pitch and got a winner themselves. I like the way they attack, but they can be got at defensively. The same goes for Norway, so I could see a very open game here. And if it is an open game, I have to lean on Norway, who have the best striker in the world at the moment, I believe. Mexico against Ecuador. This is going to be played in Mexico, of course, which could mean an advantage for the home team. But I mentioned Ecuador in the previous videos about their elite defense and how in the group stage it's pretty hard because you need to chase goals, you need to chase points. In the knockouts, it's not quite like that. I think they could go deep in this competition just because of how good their defense is. They will be focusing on set pieces. They'll be trying to just take their moments as and when they can, because I think they're very well aware, especially after that Curacao result, that their attack is not the sharpest tool in the shed, shall we say. But I'm going to go with Ecuador to get through here, a bit of an upset in the round of 32. Next up, England, who got a 2-0 win. We correctly predicted 2-0. We also correctly predicted on yesterday's video that it would be a draw at half-time and England to win at full-time. That was a great selection. Well done if you were on that. And well done to this user for your prediction on yesterday's video. You have won a month of Odd Alerts Pro. Very well done to you. I will be in touch. And the same goes for this video. Just get your comments in. Who do you think is going to win the World Cup? Do you agree or disagree with anything that I'm saying about the round of 32? And of course, I'm going to have to go with England here for obvious reasons. Not because I'm English, but because they're just expected to get through, really. I'm sorry to the man that stands in the stadium like a statue. I love you, you're very colourful, but it's time to go home. Another home nation, USA against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia, as we've covered on this channel all throughout the tournament, they love a draw. They will play for the draw, but I do think the USA will get past them here. Then that leads us to Belgium against Senegal. This is one of the games that changed in the last moments. I think Iran have gone home because of the late results. Belgium against Senegal. This is potentially another upset. For many of you, you'll feel that this is an upset, but I'm going to go with Senegal. Very, very good team. I think probably the best African team up there with Morocco. They've not lost many football games in the last 18 to 24 months. And when I watch Belgium, given the players that they've got on the pitch, they're just not clicking at the moment. I think they're a bit disjointed. And Senegal, I do believe, can surprise them. And I'm backing them to get through. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Next up, Portugal against Croatia. The two 40-plus-year-olds in this game, Ronaldo and Modric, will make the headlines, no doubt about that. Both captaining their teams. I'm going to go with Portugal straight up. I think Portugal have the quality to beat Croatia. I've not been overly impressed with Croatia at this tournament, if I'm being completely honest. I think Portugal will continue to improve as this tournament progresses. When you look at their team, they've got too many good players, to be honest, compared to Croatia. They should be winning this game. But as we know with Croatia, they've got very good pedigree in recent competitions, be that the Euros or the World Cup. So they could certainly try and frustrate Portugal and maybe take this one to extra time. Spain against Austria. We also had another winning prediction on yesterday's video, sort of around this game. Austria, Algeria. We had over 1.5 goals and Algeria or draw. Everybody was back in the draw in this game, and actually it was a cracking game, 3-3. I think they probably had an agreement, a gentleman's agreement. You score, we'll score. You score, we'll score. Spain against Austria then, and yeah, there wasn't much in the end that Austria could do to avoid this game. Spain are going through. Sorry. Switzerland against Algeria. I am going to go with Switzerland for this one. They are the better team. Argentina against Cape Verde. It is Argentina. Lionel Messi got another goal as I record this. The game finished about 15 minutes ago. That is why the round of 32 is just locked in as I'm recording this. Colombia against Ghana. I'm going to go Colombia, but that one could also go to extra time. Given the way that Ghana played against England, you would expect them to adopt that kind of approach in the knockouts as well. It would be sensible to do so, but Colombia, I think, have the firepower and the quality all around the pitch to beat Ghana. And the final game before we head on to the round of 16, Australia against Egypt. I'm backing Mo Salah to make it through to the round of 16. Now we're talking the round of 16, and the first game that we are served up on a golden plate is Germany against France. This is where the fun starts. I say that for every round, but it really does feel like this is where the fun starts. Germany against France in the round of 16. Very tricky to call, but what edges it for me is the attack of France. Mbappe, Dembele, Elise, Doué. So because of that, France to qualify. Germany, always a dangerous team, but recent World Cups, they've not really performed, let's be honest, since they won it in 2014. Canada against the Netherlands should be a good spectacle, but I am going to go with the Netherlands to progress in that game. Then we get Brazil against Norway. Whew, that is going to allow us to see Erling Haaland against Gabriel again. They love to battle it out, don't they? I think by this time, I think Ancelotti, the more time he has with these players, the better they're going to get, the more he understands them. It's hard for a club manager to come into this kind of environment where you don't have the players all the time. But the more he can coach them the way he wants them to play, I think the better they will be. And I think this will be the end of the road for Odegaard and Haaland and Sorloth and Nusa. They've done brilliantly, and they've been really fun to watch for the past 18 months or so, but I think Brazil will progress here. And then we get Ecuador, England. This could be a banana skin for England. This really could be a banana skin, because if England couldn't score against Ghana, it might be tricky for them to score against Ecuador. Ecuador have got one of the best defensive records out of any team in the competition, probably them and Argentina. If we're looking at the last 12 months, England are up there as well. in terms of clean sheets, certainly in qualifying. So this could be a very, very tight game, but I think England will win. Even if it goes to penalties, I think England have got the players to get past. Oh, Portugal against Spain has been served up as well. Match 93, Portugal against Spain. Ronaldo exiting the World Cup against Spain. Imagine that. We don't need to because it's going to happen. Spain to go through. I just can't go against Spain, really. USA against Senegal. These games are getting good now. I just see below that as well, Argentina against Egypt. Argentina potentially got a nice route to the final. So the USA, if they can get through here, wow, the frenzy would be incredible. I'm going to back them to go out at this point. I think Senegal have got a bit more tournament experience, and they are a very, very good team who I think were put in a very difficult position in a group with France and Norway. You've got to remember that. They put 5 past Iraq and they scored against both France and Norway, and I think they can get past the USA if they cut out some of the mistakes that they've been making. Argentina against Egypt, Messi against Salah will be the headline, no doubt about that. We're going to go with Argentina. Messi and Argentina look incredible. So solid. So dependable, hardly concede a goal. Switzerland against Colombia, I'm going to go with Colombia. I think Luis Diaz can be the difference for them in this tournament. He looks like he's in great form, great shape. And that takes us to the quarterfinals, which is France against Netherlands. We'll try and go through this a bit quickly because, of course, these are hypothetical games. France to win against the Netherlands. Spain to beat Senegal. Brazil to beat England. Sorry. And Argentina to beat Colombia gives us a semi-final for the ages. My word. France against Spain and Brazil against Argentina. Well, there's not been many cards in the competition thus far, but there will be in this game. Let's do France against Spain first. I'm going to go France. Spain can control any game in the world, but I just can't look past the strikers and the guys at the top end of the pitch for France. And also when looking at Spain's defence, they still play Laporte at the back. He's not a bad defender, but he's not like at the top of his game, is he? He's not elite Champions League winning. He's playing in Saudi Arabia. That's all you got to say, really. And then Brazil against Argentina. Based on what I've seen this tournament, I'm going to go with Argentina. Third place, they won't care, either of them, but I'm going to go with Brazil. And then to win the competition, get your comments in on the bracket that we have created. Who's going to win the World Cup? Which game did I make a mistake in to get to this stage? Let me know in the comments. Any comment automatically entered into a draw to win Odd Alerts Pro, of course. I've got a bit of a heart and head situation here. The heart wants Lionel Messi to do it again. The head says France. So I'm going to have to go with the head, and it is France to win the World Cup. Mbappe to win another World Cup. Wow. Now let's go back in time, because that is the 19th of July. Let's go back to the 28th of June because we have a game that we're going to make a prediction for. South Africa against Canada. Now, as I mentioned in the earlier part of the video, both of these teams getting through for the first time ever. So they've already made history. The odds are heavily stacked in the favour of Canada. 1.74 is the peak though, and the consensus is 1.69. And we can see the results of South Africa, that really poor first game against Mexico where they had 2 players sent off. Then they got a draw against the Czech Republic, and then they beat Korea. Wow. They've only scored once though in both games, whereas Canada have scored in every game and also put 6 past Qatar. Again, there was a couple of dismissals in that game. Now we'll look at the referee quickly because cards, I do think, come into their own now that we're in the knockout stages. And the referee is João Pedro. So he's not sat at home after all. João Pedro Silva Pinheiro. And he produces 4.75 cards per game. He books both teams in 88% of his games and produces 3 or more cards in 85% of his games. The previous game he managed in the World Cup was Switzerland 4, Bosnia 1, which did produce a red card and 3 yellows. And if we jump to look at the football form guide, link in the description, we can see that Canada's last 10 games, there has been a first half card in 9 of those 10 games. Will the referee get it out of his pocket in this one to calm the game down? There's been 4 or more cards in 7 of Canada's last 10 games as well. And they actually rank 3rd, Canada, for picking up cards, 21 in their last 10 games. And jumping to South Africa, we can see actually that they also have seen a first half card in 9 of their last 10 games. They've received a card in their last 10 games. You can see that there is a clear trend here. And South Africa are 2nd amongst all World Cup teams for fouls committed. And they've received 24 cards in their last 10 games. So my prediction for this first knockout game is South Africa to get more than 1 card in this game. I was going to go with first half cards, but I'm just going to wait and see how the referees perform in those knockout games first. Most corners, Canada. I think they will really look to put the pressure on in this game, and I have been impressed with the way they've played at moments in this competition. And Canada to qualify takes this to 2.75. As always, let me know what you're on in the comments for your chance to win and your name up in lights in the next episode. And speaking of the next episode, it looks like this. Brazil against Japan, Germany against Paraguay, and the Netherlands against Morocco. I will see you here, 7 a.m. sharp on Monday morning. Until then.